first and foremost, I want to thank Elvin Shee, who made that video that I'd never seen. Oh, my God. Give him a big hand. Thank you, Elvin. God bless you. And thank you, Sid, for your activities. The next councillor of Vancouver. Vote for Sid! Don't forget, November the 15th, Sid Tan, the councillor. And thank you, Jim, for the wonderful poets that I appreciate, and thank you very much. And I thank you, Karen. You probably don't know a lot of stories about your father that I can tell you about. Oh, that was before your time, and his dates. And also, the surprising thing that you don't know, he accompanied me to buy my wedding luggage because he was anxious for me to get married. So I had a dream last night, and this amazed me, all about Wally Lei Hua Ying when he first came to Canada, and your grandfather and his brother. So someday I will give you the story that you will treasure and cherish. And God bless you all. Thank you. Oh, I want to say this Heart of City Festival that the Vancouver Sun had promoted, and how about the wonderful musical they're producing of Heart of the City Festival. This was dated on October the 28th. And to have this affair this evening, this function, it just enhanced this activities. And this one here is Mother Power. Mother Power of Raymere Housing, up the street from here. And it just brought such wonderful memories to my heart, because when the Expo at Chinatown started in 1959, that we fought to 1963 to renege the vote to preserve the housing in Chinatown, the social housing on McLean Park, which is at the corner of Pender and Gore Avenue, where we live. I'm Chinatown. I'm born and raised here, third generation. I lived in Chinatown and business in Chinatown, and we love our Chinatown. Our Chinatown is disappearing too fast. But with the new development that's coming, and the city asked me last year at the council, do you support these housing that's going into Chinatown? Which is, I said, those are boxes. It could be in Winnipeg or Marine Drive. What has it got to do with Chinatown? This is original Chinatown. It started when the Vancouver City was incorporated. We must preserve an artistic decor that Chinatown retain its flavor, its character, its energy for the local, for the young and old to participate in new activities, for the tourists that benefit the city. Now, that's important because we got a new era coming. Coming back to how that new era coming is, this Raymere housing was a plight area at that time. After we reneged the vote to preserve Chinatown in the heart of Vancouver, these housing project that I just mentioned where I live was expropriated. And this is where now the McLean Park is. The McLean housing was. And the Chinese that lived there did not want to go into social housing that was built for them when their houses were demolished. So we were able to build Raymere housing when the mayor of that time was Bill Rathie. Alderman Hafford Wilson and all that appointed me as a leader of the Mayor's Redevelopment Committee. So between that committee, I appointed Honorable Angel Blanca, Harry Duker, George D. Wong, Harry Kahn, Emily Sawchuk. We built Raymere housing, Skeena housing, and McLean housing for the families that is now featured today, how happy they were to have received such good social housing. And the children or had to go across the railway track to go to school. So what happened? These ladies are sitting on a track to demonstrate they need an overpass. So today, these housing are excellent model of future housing. And that was by the city. So when you become councillor, Mr. Sit Tan, you will have to lead the council that we need more social housing built by 3 levels of government. Get together. Do the job. Build housing for the people that can afford to live in the housing, not affordable to the billionaires, or me can't afford $1 million condo. So that's why today the same social housing is talking about. And today, Vancouver Chinatown is going to have 800 housing in the market in the next 2 years, everywhere. But they're all boxes. So the city said to me, would you advisory about the Chinese decor? Because my husband, Dean Leung, and I went out of our way to build the Mandarin Trade Center, replica of the Imperial Palace. Every little detail had a meaningful omen and symbolic of a Chinese traditional custom that blesses you and good life to all. But I'm behind the scene. I'm not going to be there, but I am behind the scenes. Is all right. The common area, the exterior, should have a touch of our traditional Chinese custom. You have Chinese lanterns for the street. We, in 1974, beautified Vancouver by planting all those trees in Chinatown. So let's keep Vancouver, Chinatown beautified. And it will be with every efforts of the next generation, present young generation, with the advisory of the older generation, low IQ. Even though that I'm ageless, dateless, and timeless, I don't rank as low IQ yet. But I am very thankful that I'm here today. Good thing is Halloween was last week. I would get scary here because this is Armstrong Funeral Parlor. And at that time, so many Chinese were memorial service were held here. So the fact is that I'm coming to that point of the discrimination. Even in life and death, we Chinese suffer harshly on this lawful discrimination, restriction, taboos. Why? Because when they had their service here in this very location, and I don't know how many hundreds of times my husband gave the eulogy here, they cannot be buried in Ocean View. They were mostly buried in Mount Pleasant, which is the city cemetery. Why? Because the Ocean View Cemetery has a little corner called the Willow section, restricted to the Chinese and the black. My father-in-law's father, which is my husband Dean's grandfather, was buried there in 1944 on the condition that his bones would be shipped back to China after the war. In those days, that's why the discrimination has caused the Chinese to be returned to their home. But how the world changed. Today they come back and bury here. Because all of them, families and generations are here immigrated. And how today, these pioneers, these low IQ, your grandfather, Karen's great-grandfather, Jim's grandfather, and my grandfather was the first merchant in Victoria who did all the linens and manufactures for the Hudson's Bay, the Spencers, and the work clothes for the mine. At that time, we were not able to do what we want. We were so restricted. But today, their hardship, their work, their endurance, their sacrifices have won freedom for all the generations forever. That today we have judges, we have lawyers, we have Jim Wang Chu, we have Sid Tan. Tan Yu was the millionaire that bought the Fantasy Garden. Sorry. I thought for a minute I was standing in Taiwan. So Sid, Jim, Karen, keep up the good work. And all you ladies and gentlemen, and I'm absolutely thankful and delighted. My old friends and distant relatives are here tonight to hear me yakka yakkity yak. So anyhow, if there's anything else I can do for any of you at any time, 24/7, the Italian says, at your disposal. God bless you all. Happiness and joy.
Isn't she great, folks? Isn't she great? Thank you.